All right, let's get some answers to those pressing questions. Everybody wants to know what Belichick's going to do without Brady. That's how I started the show today. We know what Brady did without Belichick. What will Belichick do without Brady this season? Let's get some answers. By the way, there's other things to talk about. They spent a lot of money. You heard the way it was chronicled there in the open. A lot of changes on the roster for a team that owned that division for 20 years. A little different. Bills are good now. Dolphins are pretty good. Jets have a seemingly a competent coach and a rookie quarterback who looks very interesting. It's no longer a layup to show up and win 12 or 13 games. So we're joined now by Jermaine Wiggins, former tight end of the NFL, a couple of years with the Pats, a couple of years with my Jets as well, co-host of the Greg Hill Show, and he is on WEEI in Boston, so he's got a great pulse of what the city's thinking, what the Pats are doing. Jermaine, Tiki and Tierney, minus Tiki, but happy to talk some Pats with you today. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. How's everything?
Awesome, man. You know, I don't even know how if you can truly answer this, but it's more about like what's in your gut. I know that Belichick processes, every day is a chance to get better. Each snap represents literally a chance to get better. We know his process, but from an ego point of view, how much do you think he is driven to end maybe not this loud narrative, but this growing narrative perhaps that he can't win without a star quarterback? Remember, that was the case with the Browns as well. Do you think that motivates him extra? Do you think he feels that?
Well, I mean, of course he does. He's human like everybody else, and no matter what it is, when you tie two people together and you say, okay, one person's success was because of the other one, you always want to prove that, hey, together we might have had something special, but I still can do things on my own, very similar to what we saw Tom Brady do down with the Buccaneers. So, yeah, I think when you think about Bill Belichick and, I wouldn't necessarily say ego, but it's just human nature for you to want to be able to prove that you are successful because of what you're able to do and not because of maybe somebody else. But you got to remember, he's also the guy who drafted Tom Brady and developed him. So,
that's true.
I mean, he's got...
Yeah, we got to give him some credit, right? No doubt. Listen, he's the best coach of all time. I get it. But what I said in the open, Jermaine, is, it's like, I don't know if you're a big basketball fan, but I ran through like Pat Riley won with Kareem and Magic, and then he won with Patrick Ewing, not a championship, but he won with Ewing, and then he won with Miami with Zoe. Like you've got to be able to adapt to the cast, and I know it's a very small sample. I just think there's a lot of people who are curious, and I'm leading the charge right now. Like, I just want to see, can he win another one without Tom Brady? I think that's incredibly interesting.
Well, yeah, that's always going to be the question because, remember, they've been tied together so long. And the 1 year that Brady wasn't there and got hurt, they went 11-5, and unfortunately they missed the playoffs. But he still had a winning record. Everybody wants to go to Bill when Bill was in Cleveland, but that was completely different. I mean, we got to start evaluating, coaches as far back as they go. I mean, I don't know who Pat Riley coached before he coached the Lakers, but
nobody.
So you see, he didn't coach anybody, but there are some coaches where you look at the success that they had for a specific organization, and I think the organization that we look at is him as a head coach with the New England Patriots. Not him as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, because completely different Bill Belichick coach that he was, especially second go-round. You see it all the time. You talked about you're a Jets fan. You look at Bill Parcells. He was a different coach when he's with the Giants and
That's
when
right.
he was with the Dallas Cowboys or even with the New York Jets. So I think Bill Belichick with the New England Patriots has proven, obviously, that they can still do good without Tom Brady. Now it was 11-5. They didn't make the playoffs that year, but you're always going to be criticized because I think of what happened in Cleveland, so they tend to tie Belichick's record with not having Brady during that one season.
Yep, and if it's right, whether it's right or wrong, it is what it is. And, listen, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it comes up for conversation. Doesn't mean it's truly right. Doesn't mean it's truly wrong. It is what it is. So we're talking to Jermaine Wiggins, co-host of the Greg Hill Show, and he's on WEEI out there in Boston. Former tight end, won a Super Bowl as well, is with me here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Okay. Going into camp, if I could put you in Bill's mind, and McDaniels as well, jointly, do you think that they wanted to see, improvement from Cam and him win the job clearly, or Mac Jones, be even more than they may have thought he was on draft night and him wow them to a point where he won the job? Who do you think they wanted to win the job?
Well, I think Bill, he said it on our show. We interviewed him last week, and he was like, well, in order for somebody to take the starting job away from Cam Newton, they got to play better than Cam Newton. And when you look at this year's training camp, and we see a lot of people want to focus on Cam Newton of last year, but we got to focus on Cam Newton of this year because that's what Belichick always does. New year, new slate. Everybody starts kind of from a clean slate. I think he gives the veterans a little bit of the edge because he feels like they've seen more, they understand the game, the professional game, and a young guy, a rookie guy who's coming from college. It's you don't see as many defenses as you do down in Alabama. You're not playing against that type of talent, so. I think going into the camp, and he had said it himself that, obviously Cam is the starter and somebody's going to have to outperform him. But Cam has played well this training camp. He's done well in the preseason. He's kind of gotten better every game that he's played. Unfortunately, he kind of had this little misunderstanding COVID thing, whatever the hell that means. So when you look at Belichick, I think he wants Mac Jones to play, but just not this year. That's kind of the way Bill has always been. He doesn't like to put young guys in there and have them play right away because he understands the learning curve that it takes to play in the NFL, and especially when you're talking about the quarterback position and a new era of football. People don't compare him to when Tom Brady played as a young guy because, remember, when we ran the football and played defense, kind of a new era of football a little bit where the quarterback has to take more, carry more of the team on his shoulders, even though Bill's want to change a little bit of his scheme and going back to running the football and playing good defense. So right now, I think he wants Cam to be the guy and Mac to learn this year, and then Mac take over next year.
Okay, so now last year, as we bridge to this year, you guys could have easily won that Seattle game early in the season before Cam had COVID. The Bills game where Cam fumbled late, Tiki and I talk about this, they were obviously going for 3. I think they would have scored a touchdown. I think they would have beaten the Bills. So instead of having 7 wins, they very, very easily could have had 9. I might even be omitting a game where they could have won another one as well. But the AFC, man, I mean, to me, it's superior to the NFC. Like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Browns, the Ravens, the Titans, the Colts. I don't even know what the Steelers will be. The Chargers could be really good. The Raiders, if they get a half a defense, could be good. Right now, as we move toward the end of August, in your mind, in your heart, are you absolutely convinced the Pats are a playoff team? It's a lot of good teams I just ripped through.
Yeah. I mean, I'm convinced 100%. You did rip through some good teams, but remember, every team has flaws. But I think when you look at Bill Belichick, the head coach, he's far and ahead of everybody, in my opinion, in the AFC when it comes to coaching. And when you look at the offseason acquisitions he made, he bolstered the defense. The offensive line has gotten better with the addition of Trent Brown. You look at what he wants to do with this team. He wants to play good defense. I think they'll ultimately get something done with Stephon Gilmore. You're talking about a team that could have a top 5, top 3 defense. Cam, another year in the system, understanding the system, second year in it, knowing that, okay, this is it. This is it for me. If I don't go out there and perform well, I might never be in the league again. So understanding that he has no excuses. He has 2 tight ends that are really talented. There's 2 pretty good wide receivers. They want to run the football, good offensive line. He has no excuses. And when you look at this team, just on paper, I think they're one of the 7 best teams in the AFC, so that's why I think they're going to make the postseason.
I got you. I mean, I wouldn't even put up a huge fight. But by the way, I didn't even throw in Miami. I mean, if they get stellar play from Tua,
Miami starts off 0-5.
0-5.
Look at their schedule.
Well, I don't have to. You tell me. If you're saying they're 0-5, you got to know who they're playing. 0-5.
Yeah, when you look at the Miami Dolphins, it's very simple.
Hold on, right? I got it. Pats, Bills. Go ahead. Pats, Bills. Raiders, Colts. Raiders, Colts, Bucks.
There you go.
They got to win a game, man. They're not going to be 0-5.
Well, the Patriots always do well. They did well last year against Miami up at home. They always do well when they open up with Miami at home.
Yep.
You look at the Raiders. You talked about the Raiders being a good team. Tua, his first real year of playing, is he going to get over that hump? You look at the Buccaneers. They got the Bills. I mean, when you think about this team
Colts.
and you look at their schedule, the Colts, this team is going to have to, and I think they're playing at the Colts as well. So the one thing I look at Miami, I think they're definitely going to have a tough go-around, even if you say they win one game. But look at the Patriots' first 3 games. Miami, your Jets, who stink, and
Jeez.
the New Orleans Saints, who are trying to figure out what's going on with their quarterback situation, and a disgruntled Michael Thomas. They could easily start the season 3-0, and you look at the rest of their schedule through like the first 8 games. They only really play 2 quarterbacks in their first 8 games, and that's Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield's got to prove that he can do it again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I mean, I wish I could basically tell you to stick it and shove it, what you just said about my Jets, but I can't until they actually show they're a competent organization. What am I going to say? You're not wrong. Then we picked second in the draft. Let me ask you this, Joe Jermaine. Now, for those who don't remember, you played over a half a decade in the NFL in the early 2000 to about 06 or 07. So you know the league. You're doing radio. You've been in the media. While the Jets very well probably will stink based on win-loss record this year, Zach Wilson's really popping this summer. So when I tell you Josh Allen, who was in the MVP mix, Mac Jones, who's incredibly accurate, Tua, who I'm not sold on, but a lot of people like him, and Zach Wilson in 3 years, all right? And be as objective as you can. It seems like you got a little homerism in you, but that's okay. Give me one in order, like the quarterbacks in the AFC East in 3 years. Who's number 1 and who's number 4? Hit it. What do you got?
I would have to say Josh Allen, number 1.
Fair.
I think he's done a great job.
Yep.
I would probably go with Mac Jones, number 2.
Here we go. Homerism guy. I got you, Mac. Yeah.
No, not homerism.
Oh,
Here's why I
no.
look at this. Here's why I give Mac Jones the edge. It comes down to your offensive coordinator, your head coach, and they're far superior than anybody else.
What if Josh gets a job? What if Josh goes to coach somebody else?
You know what? I don't know about that. I think Josh, because there might have been some opportunities for him to take head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he wants to leave. It has to be the perfect fit.
Yep.
Then I would say number 3 would probably be Tua, because I think Brian Flores is a pretty good coach down there. And number 4 would be Zach Wilson. But I think Zach Wilson
You're out of your mind.
probably has the most talent out of all those guys,
okay.
except maybe even Josh Allen. He might even have more talent, but the problem is it's the Jets.
So I got you. Okay, no, okay. I you know what? I can actually accept that until the Jets show that they don't ruin quarterbacks. I got you. I don't even as long as you were upfront about the talent part. I know you're coming from a straight place. I got you. Hey,
because you got there's a guy who played for the Jets. I don't know. He's drafted pretty high by the name of Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And
I know.
Yeah, so it's
Dude.
But talent-wise, I do like Zach Wilson, and I think he has the most talent out of all those guys. But the problem is, you play for the Jets.
All right, I got you. You don't have to keep saying it, man. I got you. That's Jermaine Wiggins with us here, co-host of the Greg Hill Show on WEEI. Guys, you must laugh at us all the time on that station. Let me ask you this real quick, and then we'll let you bounce. So we know that you think they're a playoff team. We touched on Belichick. We read this. I've seen him play, obviously, so I'm playing the Pac-12 in college. What is the story with N'Keal Harry? Like, is he just not that talented? Is he not getting the pro game? Is he not a good pro? Like, is he not diligent? What's the story?
I personally think some guys, when they get to the NFL, they're just not good NFL football players. That's what I think, because when you look at the measurables, right, a lot of people look at the measurables. He has all the measurables big. He's got decent speed. But when you start to break him down, you have to evaluate. He's not really the greatest route runner, but you're physical. And so if you're not the greatest route runner, then that means you got to play physical, you got to be big, and you got to play a lot of high-point balls. You got to be a guy that can go across the middle, make the tough catch. Very similar to, you probably remember this name, Keyshawn Johnson.
I love Keyshawn, sure. Yeah.
Even though Keyshawn was a great route runner, he played physical. Larry Fitzgerald played physical. When you're that size, if you're not the greatest route runner, you have to now play physical and almost be like an unbelievable rebounder in the NBA, where everything, when it goes up, they no longer are 50-50 balls. They are 80-20 balls.
Got it.
And he doesn't do that. He doesn't run great routes,
well,
and he gets jammed up at the line of scrimmage. So I think when guys get to the NFL, sometimes they're just not good enough in the NFL, and it doesn't click, where there are other guys, Jacoby Myers, for example, doesn't get any credit, gets to the NFL, and has proven that he's a pretty solid wide receiver. Same as a Wayne Corbett. There's another guy for you for the Jets.
That's my boy. I love number 80. Number 80, I love number 80. Loved him. Tough as nails, Corbett.
But Corvette was a great route runner.
Yes.
So even though he didn't have the measurables,
No.
when he got to the pro level, he was a very, very good pro wide receiver.
Yep.
Where some guys, they're just not good pro football players.
This is good. This is a really good conversation. We got to get you back on the show when you're dead wrong about your Pats. But in the meantime, we'll let you have your moment. Jermaine Wiggins, WEEI. Good stuff, man. I really enjoyed rapping with you. Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.